Well, speaking of that Build Back Better legislation, you're deep in discussions about that right now. And if anything, we're probably distracting you from your work and getting that passed. What do you see as the prospects for that legislation?
So it's very high on my agenda. It's something that we absolutely want to see to become law. And as I mentioned, the infrastructure bill, which is a companion bill, was signed into law this week. And I'm hopeful that later this week, the House will take this up and pass it, send it to the Senate, where the Senate will probably do some adjustments to the package. But there's a great deal of support for this important package. You know, the infrastructure package is really devoted to making just once in a generation investments in hard investments in roads and highways, ports, airports, our water system. It will get rid of all lead pipes in the country that are exposing our children to harm, and the investments we need for a 21st century economy, providing affordable broadband to every home, as I mentioned, investments in the grid to enable us to make climate change investments. The Build Back Better plan is a complement, but it focuses more on the lives, improving the lives of children, families, seniors, and working people. And it will succeed in cutting taxes for the middle class, lowering prices on a wide range of household expenses, such as childcare and prescription drugs. And it involves investments in children, which are enormously important, both from an equity standpoint and from the standpoint of growing our economy, making sure that we're giving children, regardless of the financial resources of their families, the tools they need to succeed in America. So there are 2 years of free universal early childhood education for 3- and 4-year-olds. There is a wealth of research that shows that children that get this quality early childhood education do better in every way. Their earnings are higher, their participation in the workforce is higher, they're less likely to end up in prison or to end up with addiction problems. These are investments we need to make. Beyond that, there's substantial support for childcare expenses so that childcare will be affordable for most American families. And that's something that can boost labor force participation. You know, once upon a time, the United States was way ahead of the developed country pack in terms of female labor force participation. There was a surge of women into the workforce, but you know, that's no longer true. Most developed countries have a higher level of female labor force participation than we do. And in part, it's because we provide so little support for childcare expenses. And so there's a major commitment for that I think will boost labor force participation. There's also a continuation, at least for another year, of the child tax credit that is now sending monthly payments of up to $300 to families, I believe on the order of 30 million families with 60 million children, that's helping them afford what their children need to succeed. There's also increased availability of home health care for seniors who need it and for the disabled, which is important in its own right, and also something that will boost labor force participation. There's funding to reduce the cost of health insurance and a huge investment in climate change. So I think this is a very important package. Americans will see real changes in their daily life. And now at a time when we're focused on inflation, they're going to see a lot of really critical expenses that things like childcare, prescription drugs, healthcare, cut in ways that make life more affordable. And this is a fiscally affordable package. We're seeing the Congressional Budget Office now weigh in on what it will cost. The Joint Committee on Taxation has been weighing in with estimates of the impact of the tax provisions. But the bottom line here is that this bill is fiscally responsible. It's fully paid for, and that's accomplished by making the wealthiest individuals and corporations pay their fair share, and by investing in the Internal Revenue Service so that it can go after tax cheats. It's remarkable, but analysis suggests that a failure of individuals and companies to pay the taxes that are due is depriving the United States over the next decade of roughly $7 trillion in revenues. And the investments here we estimate will net something like 400 billion. It's only a fraction of that 7 trillion, but it's a very meaningful investment that will make our tax system more efficient and help it collect the revenues that are due. And this package is fully funded, but no one making less than $400,000 a year will see their taxes go up by a single cent. So I'm very hopeful that before the end of the year, that Build Back Better will become law, and that this week we'll see action on it in the House.